Do you want to say hi to your pals? Nope? Okay. Hello and welcome to my channel, Haylee Marie Vintage. Today I have an extra special, super fun collab video. So I'm collaborating with some of my Redbird gal friends, which is Tati, Eureka Monogram / Heather, and Andrea and Judith. I will be linking all of their channels down below. The premise of this challenge was kind of a spooky secret Santa, and so we each sent a character to our secret spooky Santa, and then from there Heather went around and sent out an adjective to kind of put a spin on the challenge. I will be ignoring my adjectives, sorry Heather. I'm a rule breaker, what can I say? And then we are going to be making a costume. So I was assigned the character Mad Hatter, and then I was also just assigned the adjective fantasy. I will try to take it as fantasy as I can, but as I've talked about on this channel, it's really important to me to have Halloween be a sustainable thing for me. So instead of going really over the top and fantasy character with this, I'm trying to keep it really, really simple. So my interpretation of the Mad Hatter, I've decided gets to be whatever the heck I want, because I looked up kind of the origins, and actually, in the book Alice in Wonderland, there's not a character called the Mad Hatter. There's just someone who is as mad as a hatter. Kind of the way I'm going is I'm going to wear a hat as the only rule for the Mad Hatter costume. But I did pick up this really cute teacup fabric that I thought would make a really, really fun jumper that I could layer a blouse under. I've made this pattern on my channel before, but this here is a jumper with then a blouse layered under it, and so I will make the jumper out of this fabric and then the blouse out of this. I thought this was nice because I feel like I can do a lot of layering with this, and I feel like most interpretations of the Mad Hatter have involved kind of more of a suit look, and this will give me kind of a suit look but something that I will wear. This is just some white cotton lawn that I have in my stash. I used it recently for my Dorothy shirt, and I'm going to use it for this shirt. It feels really high quality, it washes super well, and I really love it, and it doesn't wrinkle too bad. Like I said, I've made this before. I did a video, I think last December, where I made 2 jumpers, and this is one of the jumpers I made. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to take you along for the whole journey, of course, but I'm going to go pretty fast through the jumper section. If you want a longer jumper explanation, you can see that other video, which I'll link up in the eye. And then I'm going to do a more in-depth kind of on what I'm doing on the shirt. It looks like there's pin tucks on this pattern, which I've actually never done before, but I'm super excited to give a try. But with that, let's jump into cutting the jumper. And here I am just cutting out my pattern. Nothing too exciting or wild here. I did make sure not to buy a directional teacup print. There were lots of directional teacup prints, but I didn't want to deal with the challenge of figuring out how to cut that out correctly. I've done a directional stripe with this pattern before, and it's not particularly easy, so I wanted to avoid that. As always, I have the participation and watchfulness of Spooky. She is always here and always watching. So yeah, pretty easy cutting job, which is exciting for me since this is my least favorite part. And then here is just a close-up where I am cutting all my notches as well as marking all my dots and making all of my darts. Lately I've been doing this after I cut all the pieces, so that way I can do all the notches and the dots as at once and kind of get things done more in a manufacturing assembly line way. I find that this works significantly better for me, and I am using my weird tack it tool. I now have decided I'm not sure how much I love this tool, but for now I'll still keep using it because I feel like it's the best solve that I have. And then here I am just working on pinning together all the various facings and pieces and such. This is a pretty easy and self-explanatory step, especially if you check out that other jumper video. And then the biggest thing that I forgot is the pockets for this are more complicated because they have you put the pocket facings in and you're actually stitching the pockets over, under the fabric, so it does need that facing, as opposed to when sometimes you'll have a facing attached to the pocket itself and then that's stitched to the front of the garment. Everything is done behind the garment in this case, so you need the facing sewn onto the garment. It's slightly more complicated than I remembered. And here I am just sewing like a little speed demon. I foolishly gave myself way not enough time for this project, and so I was up sewing this jumper until 11 at night, which is late for me. I usually go to bed at 9. But I was determined to finish this before my weekend so then I could get started on the blouse, which I knew was going to take me longer. So yeah, just sewing it up late at night here. Not my ideal, but I do love the jumper, so it's fine. All right, and here I have the bodice and I have the skirt, and I am just fixing them together, and then I have a full jumper done besides the zipper. But the zipper, I am less afraid of zippers now, and I can just get that done super easy peasy. Oh, I'm glad this iron was off. That could have been tragic. But here you can see I have the jumper all made up. I don't have all of the facings tacked down yet, but as you can see, it fits pretty well. I forgot how much I like this pattern. However, I forgot how like this pattern looks super simple, but then when you actually start making it, it's not. These pockets here are not simple. I don't know if you can tell from this camera or this lighting, but I actually top stitched the pockets with a contrast thread instead of a matching thread. I just thought I don't have anything in my stash that matches quite right, so I decided to go ahead and do the pockets this way. And then you can see the zipper up the back, I hope, as I'm turned around. This was a pretty easy and straightforward zipper. I just did a simple lapped zipper. I think this is looking really, really, really good, and I'm incredibly pleased with it. So now we're gonna go and do the shirt. I've already looked at the shirt pattern, and the shirt pattern is really complicated. There are, I think, 4 pin tucks on each side, and then there's like a lot of weird pleats around the waist, so it'll be interesting to kind of figure out how to make it. I do like this blouse, of course, with this, but I do want to make the matching blouse. I want to try it, and I've been loving that cotton lawn. The plan is going to be to make that one with the cotton lawn and with French seams. So again, if I'm going to make a white blouse, I want to take the time to make it in a way that I can wash it again and again and again, because they tend to need more washing. So French seams seem to be the way to go for that. So super excited to get started on the blouse. So next up you will see me cutting into that fabric. And here we are back at not my most favorite stage of the process. So for these French seams, I'm cutting a 1/2 inches away from the edge, so I have the ability to sew up the seam. These French seams went a little bit awry because of my poor seam allowance management, but it happens. But otherwise, I'm just cutting out the pattern like I would normally, and I am making sure to mark the wrong sides with a pencil, since with the white lawn, they look exactly the same on each side. All right, here I am. I was trying to figure out how to best transfer all the markings and get everything pinned and figured out. So I started actually with needle and thread, like the directions say, and they say to like basically like baste these in long stitches together. I'm particularly talking about the pin tucks here. I know how to do a dart, but pin tucks I found really confusing, so I followed their advice and I started with a needle and thread. After a brief visit from Spooky, I decided to change and not do these by pinning and sewing and all that jazz and having basting, and instead I decided to just pin these the way I would pin a dart, and then suddenly things made a lot more sense and went a lot faster. So that is good, because they were going so painfully slow, it was driving me nuts. And here I am just marking the darts like I normally would with my pen and then a ruler. Super simple, super easy. I do have to say it was interesting because the pin tucks obviously are on the outside of the blouse and the darts are on the inside, and that was kind of counterintuitive, so it took a little bit of like muscle to figure that out, but I did, and I'm very excited about it. All right, and then here I am sewing all these tucks and darts. There were so many. There were 3 pin tucks on each side, so 6. And then there were 4 pleats on the back, because there were 2 on each side. And then there were 2 darts in the front, so there was just a lot of darting and pleating and whatever. But I think that is what makes this blouse turn out and fit me so well. So even though it was not super enjoyable in the process, I am very pleased with how it ended up, so it's all good. And here I am attempting to show you how I ironed the pin tucks, not because it was hard, but because it was really, really satisfying. There's something about having things just all of a sudden lay really flat and nice that is just oh so delicious. So I really enjoyed this part of the process. I actually really like ironing. I find it really satisfying. So ironing all these pin tucks was really fun. All right, so now I find myself in a bit of a pickle. I started my French seam on the wrong side, and I've already trimmed and ironed it. And then I sewed it closed again, and there's a big chunk sticking out. It's really terrible. This is awful. So I think what I'm actually going to do is do a triple French seam, which makes no sense, but is the only solve I can figure out how to get the seams on the correct side of this blouse. So it just kind of is what it is, but yikes, won't make that mistake again, hopefully. It's much harder when both sides of the blouse are the same color, and so it's less easy to tell what are right and what are wrong. However, with the darts and tucks, I should have known better. Now that I have all that nonsense figured out, I am working on sewing the tie around the neck. This is basically just like a collar, but it's a tie. That kind of feels like a weird sentence, I don't know why. But this was super easy. I was basically just sewing this piece of fabric like double-sided, and then attaching it like you would a collar and clipping and all that jazz. Super simple, super easy. And I actually feel confident now enough to sub this in other blouses where maybe I want the top to be a necktie instead of a collar. Yay! So through all that trial, I have now resulted in a thing that looks like a blouse without sleeves. So my next step here will be gathering down and inserting the sleeve. These are classic satin sleeves that are kind of poofy, so it should be pretty easy to do. Before I can actually sew the sleeves on, I need to sew the sleeves. So here I am showing you I cut a piece of cloth to be like the facing for the slit like the instructions said, and then I stitched it across on that blue that you see, and then I'm just cutting it open, and then I will be turning and pressing it so it looks all nice and neat. This was pretty simple and straightforward. And here I am working on gathering the edge of the sleeve into the shape of the cuff to make it so these will be super cute. I'm so excited about these sleeves. I know they're gonna turn out great. But I do have to kind of figure out some things. There was definitely some cuff wrestling and figuring out which was the wrong side going on here. And then here I am actually sewing in the sleeve after I've gathered it down and set it. We have a cuff, we have everything good to go and ready to roll. So I have sleeves now on this blouse, so we are ready for the last step. Besides the buttons, which are actually the last step, I have to add in the buttonholes. I've gotten a lot more comfortable with my buttonhole foot. I remember how I used to do them by hand because I was so afraid to use a buttonhole foot. But here I am, I'm using it well. It's cruising along, it's really, really fast. My buttonhole foot came with a steel plate that you can put kind of between the fabric and the bottom. Even though that's kind of technically for like heavy duty or like weird situations, I always use it because I think it makes for a better buttonhole. But I think this is it, and now we will have the reveal. All right, we are to winter lighting. I have my spooky shadow in the background, but we are on wrap up. So I'm wearing the blouse. I laugh because I told my friends I hate making blouses and this is the last blouse I think I'll ever make. But that was before I tried this blouse on and saw how well it fit. So it will not be the last blouse I make. And I laugh because like today I'm kicking off a project making a blouse. So I'm just dramatic, it's fine. And I also left my makeup on because it's kind of fun and bright and not something I would typically do. So things that I learned that I don't hate blouses as much as I thought I did. I hate making them, but I love wearing them. So we're just kind of, we are where we are. I love this blouse so much. I plan on wearing it all the time. I can think of a gajillion different things it will mix really, really well with. I love like kind of the like slight puffiness of the sleeve, and I like the like cuffs. Like I like this whole thing, so that's exciting. That's great. And then for the dress jumper, this was my second time. It's so funny because I remembered this being an easy pattern, and then I was reading the instructions, and then I remembered the complicated pocket, and I was like, oh, this wasn't an easy pattern. In the last one that I did figure out how to do the zipper and a pocket on the same side. However, like I said, I did this one up the back just because they're easier to get in and out of, and like that's what I'm about. Struggling to get on clothes is never really very fun. And then I'm also really proud of the pocket here. I top stitched it in a contrasting stitch, and I haven't felt confident enough to top stitch in anything but a matching thread because I'm not the best sewer, and I feel like it turned out pretty well. Like there's, of course, when I look at it, some spots where like maybe I wavered a little bit and the thread is not completely neat looking. I'm really proud of this costume. I think I did a pretty cool Mad Hatter, and I don't know, I also like that I feel like I chose to make it completely original to me and what I interpreted it as opposed to looking to the movies, just because I think the movies costumes are like fine, but like I was like, I'd rather do a take that I can also, more importantly, wear in real life. I will be getting tons of wear out of this blouse, and then this here fits perfectly into my wardrobe. So it'll be easy peasy to keep these two in the mix. There's not much else to sum this up with other than definitely go check out everybody else's videos. I'm not quite sure when theirs are coming out, but definitely go check out Judith, Tati, Heather, and Andrea's videos. They're going to be super fun, I'm sure. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for their fun videos, and I will see you next time. Bye! There's what's the word I'm looking for? I hope my hair is not touching my mic over and over again. The plan will be to make that one with... Spooky's about to jump on my lap. Full on... What's the word I'm looking for? The plan will be to make that with a full... Wrong. Come on. That was wimpy. Oh my goodness. Okay, where are we gonna get through it?